Hello. The next stage, I will advise you to do it on a mannequin. If you don't have a mannequin, it can be any mannequin, male or female, it's just a 3D shape. If you don't have a mannequin, I will advise you to maybe to put on a person and for 15 minutes spend time on that person who can hold it for you. So yes, as you see now on the mannequin, what I've done, I got my seam allowance on the neck line, and the next part I will advise you is to tuck through. I've done it in red so you can see better. To tuck through and underline your neckline. And what I did, I've done through all the canvases so you can see inside. So I'm going to reverse my jacket. So another side so you can see, so now I cut my seam allowance around the neckline. It fits much better around the mannequin as well. So can you see now, I actually tack around my neckline, red line, yeah. So that's is a red. So go through the canvas and highlight where the actual my neckline is. So just make sure we're putting that properly. Now the next part would be we're going to work on your facing. So I'm finishing neckline around your facing, ready for the collar. So lay it flat. So keep all your tuck in here. So lay your facing flat, and then it's way too much of your seam allowance here. So what I'm going to do in these cases is because we don't need any extra fabric here, so I do accept that one. So just there, and then here we don't need extra volume, extra fabric around the facing. So I'm just going to smooth that area and put a couple of pins so you can feel where your seam allowance finished on this side. So you can feel with your hands when you put your hands inside. And continue smooth my facing and lining. So your lining and facing attached here by the thread anyway. So you just continue smooth that and just put a couple of pins so it stays in place. There we go. So put the pin there. Now, way too much seam allowance. I'm going to trim them. Again, it's take it in stages, trim your seam allowance in stages. Because when you cut it, it's could be vital if you've got it too much. So I'm going to trim just slightly above. I can feel my seam here. So I'm just going to trim my seam allowance in the facing just above of my seam allowance in the neckline. I'm going to do it in stages, not in a hurry. So cut 1 centimeter first to see how it goes. Okay. So I may cut so can you see that side? So it's longer. See that it's longer. So I'm going to cut a little bit more because I still think it's too much. So about 5 millimeters. Now the neckline. So it's pretty much actually, so some places I've got there, it's pretty much in line with your seam, slightly longer than your actual seam allowance around the neck. So I'm going to trim it again, just slightly, keep it slightly longer than your seam allowance. You always can trim them, but you don't want to keep all your seam allowance either, because you will understand later on, you can't turn those seam allowance inside, so that because they're going to be too massive. So therefore, you have to find that balance in there. So okay, lovely. So I've done that. I'm going to take my pins out. I may have to unpick some of my tucking around the around there of neckline. Yeah, so I can fold the seam allowance of my facing inside, following your neckline. Okay, so remember as well, so make sure it's it goes continuous line from continuous. Sorry, if I just move that. So make sure it's continuous line from your lapel, so it doesn't create a step down. So it would not look nice. So make sure it's nice, straight, continuous line. Also remember that part we had a dart there, so we don't have a dart in the facing. Therefore, we need to ease that. So we need to make sure we have extra fabric in that area. So, and so fold that over. Okay. Just covering my line, which is of the neckline, just covering the red line, because remember it's going to be slightly bigger because we make it. So if you see that, because we rolled the fabric from the facing, so you will be slightly bigger. So we'll cover your red line. And also I put on my hand before I do anything, put my pins, but I fold it on my hand like that, to give that ease, which is I was talking about around your lapel. So all that fabric, we need to ease it. Okay, so that will take a little bit of time around the lapel. So that's that part here, you are definitely need to spend time and make sure it's perfected. Okay, continue folding your facing here. It's quite easy. You go under your red line. Okay, so you don't need to or just on the red line, I probably would say, just on the red line now. So fold that inside. So now you don't need extra fabric here. So I want you to pull it your facing slightly. So like smooth from here, that moment, smooth your facing inside. So it goes like nice and tight in that area. Is that's the one thing you don't want to have extra fabric there, otherwise your facing will not lay flat. So if I just turn around for you so you can see. Yeah. So pull a little bit here. So that and continue. Continue following. Okay. I also, what I do in advance, I mark my shoulder position here. So I remember that's my shoulder line. So it will help you if you do that as well. So now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to tack that line with my tacking thread. Okay, I'm going to do that in the next session. So that's what you need to do, and I will tack that in the next session, and I will also try to perfect that area, which is extremely important. Okay, see, it's slightly uneven, so that will be my full attention to make it that perfect. Okay, so see you next session. So I'm going to tuck my neckline.